She said, "Flirting doesn't mean anything." I smiled, not because it was funny, but because suddenly everything became clear. That single sentence told me all I needed to know about who she had become and who I had been to her from the start. I remembered a time when our marriage thrived on trust that didn't need constant validation, when a text left unread didn't spark doubt, when our eyes still met like we were each other's favorite person in the room. But somewhere along the way, between late-night work events and harmless office chatter, that feeling began to decay. It started small, a glance that lingered too long, a laugh that felt rehearsed. I'd see her phone light up past midnight, and she'd flip it face down, waving it off as nothing. Maybe I wanted to believe her. Maybe I was too weary to fight a battle I already knew I'd lose. Then one night, I arrived at a restaurant earlier than expected. She didn't notice me at first. I watched from across the room as she leaned in close to a man whose name I knew, a colleague, nothing more. Her hand brushed his arm, her eyes glimmering with a soft spark I hadn't seen in months. My stomach twisted, but I didn't step in. I lingered just long enough to let the truth burn itself into memory. Later, when she came home, she looked startled to see me awake. I asked a simple question. "Were you with him?" She sighed, almost irritated, and said, "It was just flirting. It doesn't mean anything." I smiled. Neither does our marriage anymore. The silence that followed that line was louder than any argument we had ever had. She froze, eyes wide, realizing the ground beneath her had finally given way. I didn't shout. I didn't demand answers. I simply sat there, unervingly calm, because part of me had already broken long before that night. Of course, she tried to backpedal, claiming I was overreacting, insisting that everyone flirts. But she didn't understand. It wasn't about a few words or glances. It was about the slow erosion, the deliberate wearing down of something sacred. Every secret smile, every hidden message, every you're imagining thing had chipped away at us until nothing remained. I looked at her, truly looked, and realized how far we drifted. We were two strangers pretending to share a life. The laughter we had shared, the effortless comfort between us. It was gone, replaced by walls built from half-truths and quiet resentment. She reached for my hand, but I didn't respond. The touch no longer felt like home. "Don't throw everything away over something so small," she whispered. I wanted to tell her it wasn't small, that it was every sleepless night I waited up, every moment I questioned myself for seeing what was right in front of me, that it was death by 1,000 cuts, and she had delivered the final one. Instead, I stood, walked past her, and said softly, "You did that all on your own." That night, I didn't pack. I didn't slam doors. I just lay in bed staring at the ceiling until the first light of morning crept through the blinds. By sunrise, a decision was already made, not from anger, but from exhaustion. You can only bleed for so long before the wound stops hurting. When she woke, she tried to act like nothing had changed. Made coffee, asked if I wanted breakfast, as if the words, "Our marriage doesn't mean anything," hadn't echoed through the walls all night. I watched her move through the kitchen, the woman I once thought I couldn't live without, and felt only emptiness. I told her I'd be leaving for a while. She didn't argue. Perhaps she thought I'd return once I cooled off. Perhaps she still believed she held that power over me. But when I closed the door behind me, I knew I wouldn't go back. Not to that house. Not to that version of myself that accepted less under the guise of understanding. Weeks passed. She called, texted, even showed up once saying she missed me. But it wasn't love she missed. It was comfort, routine, the man who excused her choices. I didn't respond. Some endings don't require closure. They only need silence. Looking back, I realized something. When she said flirting didn't mean anything, she was half right. It didn't mean anything to her. But to me, it meant everything, because that's when I finally saw what I refused to admit all along. Love cannot survive where respect has already vanished.